guys, ILene Vick here for Teaching Adult Coloring with ILene Vick. It is Friday, April 11th at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and I am live. It is week 15 of 2025, and in my neck of the woods it is currently 51 degrees with a high of 55 and a low of 43. Welcome, welcome, welcome to my broadcast. I am here for the next 3 hours for coloring, companionship, chat, friendship, giggles, and laughs, pretty pictures, and the what, the how, and the why of adult coloring. In other words, I demonstrate what I'm doing. Better yet, I tell you what I'm doing. I show you how I'm doing it. And then I explain why I did what I did. Welcome to my YouTube peeps who come in and chat with me. That is always delightful. Welcome to my YouTube peeps who watch this broadcast after the fact, which I know a majority of you do. And welcome to my Facebook peeps who see this broadcast when I download it into my group, Teaching Adult Coloring with ILene Vick. Whoops, hold on, gotta do something really quick. Okay, so let's see who's popped in tonight. Mamie, so glad to see you, Mamie. So glad to greet you. Hi, Mamie. Jonah, Tam Tam, Miss Stephanie. Hello, Grace. All right, so tonight we have our buddy colors. Our buddy color is a project that I always do where I take one of the images from one of my books. Actually, I take 1 to 3 images. I give them to you guys for free, and then we take one of those images and we color it together while I'm broadcasting. So this is out of my book, The Many Faces of Jesus Christ, Volume 2. This is the book. And the whole idea of this book is to show the different aspects of Christ, who was fully man when he was with us. It's a pretty nifty book. All right. And then I've got a project going out of Kirby Roseanne's Dark Fairy Tales. This book was given to us by Angry Bear. Angry Bear, thank you so much. And we are doing the image of Little Red Riding Hood, who has just decapitated the wolf who attacked her in the forest. Excuse me. So hopefully Angry Bear is happy with the progress that I've made so far and what I've done. I've sure enjoyed doing it. And whoever's following me on this, I hope you're enjoying the project. I think it's turning out quite well. Hello, Sandy. All right. So let me put the Curvy book off to the side. Let me get my paper towel. Last night we worked on the face of Christ, and we talked about how he isn't. Oh, Cindy, hello. Welcome back again. We talked about how Christ is not lily white. So I decided to do this in authentic colors. He was Middle Eastern. That was his representation to us when he was on Earth. And that's what we're doing here. Okay. Now, I am doing his skin with eyeshadow. And I have a palette here. But before I show that, I want to find out how everybody's doing today. How is your day today, guys? Win, lose, or draw? I'm going to say draw. It's been a quiet day. Tammy, draw. Angry Bear, draw. Grace, draw. Kinda rainy and boring. Jonah, draw. Come on, guys, let's keep it going. Stephanie, draw. Very quiet, beautiful weather. Mamie, draw. Okay. And Mamie has put up the link for this image and 2 more in the group. For anybody who is new and wants to color along with us. Okay, now I need to talk about my eyeshadow. So this particular eyeshadow palette that I got, as you can see, oh, Cindy says win. I think I finally gotten a handle on coloring skin. Yay! Okay, Sandy, thank you. Congratulations, Cindy. Okay, so I'm going to take my handy dandy sponge applicator, sponge tip applicators. which I absolutely love. And I really like them because they're extra long. These little puppies are 3 inches long. Check it out. So if you have larger or clunky hands like I do, they are really terrific. Okay. So let's go ahead and get his neck done and his hand. And then we can continue with our project. So I'm starting out with my lightest color. This is my base color of the skin that I'm using. Make sure that you get that pigment or eyeshadow pushed into the grain of the paper. And I'm just using my finger to wipe away the excess. Then I'm going to use my next color, which is a little bit darker. And we'll get that along the edges and this darker portion here of the shading. And I'm going to pull a little bit of that darker skin on top of the light color that I just put in. But notice that it's different because the two colors are mingling together. And then I'm going to use my darkest color, and that's going to be used just on the inside here where the beard is. And notice how I'm pushing that darkest color underneath here. So that we get a definition between the beard and the neck. All right, let me pull out. Now, this is where I always tell you, trust the process. Our colors can end up looking a little wonky, But remember, we still have things to do around the outside here. Now, I'm going to use my surgummy here. And I'm going to just clean up around the beard. Notice that I'm tapping this, I'm not rubbing it. And that gets rid of any of the eyeshadow that got up into his beard. Okay. Now let's go down and do his hand. Now when you're doing your colors, be careful that you don't accidentally pick up orangey colors in your color selection. Now take your time. Again, you want to make sure that you've rubbed that eyeshadow into the paper thoroughly. And this is back to my lightest skin color. Okay. And then I'm going to work in my medium colors. Let me show you on my eye palette, or my eyeshadow palette, which ones I'm using. So I'm using this one for my light skin. I'm using this one for my medium. And I'm using this one for my dark. Now, if you look up eyeshadows on Amazon, you can get ones that are just the darker skin tones. And be sure you pick up the knuckles here. And in order to pick up the nuanced shading here, up here at the top, for example, I'm using the edge of my applicator. Okay, and then we'll get our dark, again using the edge. And we'll get in between our fingers here. And then we have a little area here at the bottom. On this last little finger, we've got the edge and then the rounded portion of the palm. Not the palm, but the yeah, that's the palm of the hand. All right, let me pull out. Check it out. Now, you'll notice that the hand is decidedly lighter than the face that we've colored. Let me grab a little water here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back with my medium color, and I'm very lightly going to go over the top of the hand where I put the lighter color. And that way, that will balance out our skin tones between the face and the hand. Check it out. And don't worry about getting any eyeshadow on the little gown of the little girl here. That will erase easily. All right, let me grab my eraser here. Eyeshadow is really, excuse me, neat that way. Is it erases very, very easily. All right. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, let's get a line here. We're making great progress with this. I'm just going to erase just a little more here. Okay. Now, this is where we're going to go in and we're going to detail what we've done with the face and the hands. So I'm going to take a medium brown and we're going to work up the crinkle lines that are in Jesus' face. Now, the neat thing about using eyeshadow and pencil is that they go together beautifully. And once you get your base color in, like I've just shown you with the light, medium, and dark eyeshadow. Now we can come in and tint in and detail our features. Now, what do I always tell you? Don't pile drive your pencil. The lines that I'm drawing are not heavy at all. They're very light. Grace, you asked me one time about, is there ever a situation where you don't necessarily blend out your lines? This is one of those situations, only because we're making these lines very delicate. All right, let's go ahead and shade underneath here. Let me pull out so you can see the full effect. Isn't that gorgeous? Well, hello, Art Angel. Oh my gosh, it's been ages. So Grace, does this make sense now about the lines? Now, I'm very, very lightly going to put in our lines on the forehead, our creases. I am barely touching the paper. We just want to put in enough to represent that crinkle. Art, good to see you again. Now, I'm also going to take this brown and I'm going to use it near the hairline. Remember how we talked about the light, medium, and the dark on the skin, and when it's darker on the edges, it makes it look like that it's further away? This is what's going to give us our dimension. And of course, Art Angel, you've been dealing with something on here, my friend, but I've been watching your videos. Oh, Art, that's wonderful. Now, notice how I'm blending out that darker color? We're obliterating that line between the different shades. Use a little bit of finger blending here. Well, Art, I'm glad to hear that you've been watching the playbacks. We've been having a lot of fun. Now, don't forget to get in between the hair right here with your facial color. And we have our little gap right here as well. So there's one gap, here's the other gap. Okay, and a little bit of a finger blend. Now, what do you notice about the forehead? Guys, what do you notice about the forehead? And the answer is, by darkening our color around the edges. Hi, Janie. In darkening around the edges, it's made the center portion and these areas above the eyebrows look, yeah, the highlight, it's too bright. It doesn't look natural. So I'm going to take this medium brown. I'm using the side of the pencil and I'm going to tone it down. Look at the difference now between here and here. And then I'm going to do the same over the eyebrows. Now, you've heard me say this until I'm blue in the face. When you're coloring a picture, you're going to be making constant adjustments because as you add your colors, the colors that are already on there and the shades and the shadowing is going to change. You see artists all the time adjusting their pictures. All right. And then, just so that his nose doesn't come into the room 10 minutes before he does, I'm going to add a little bit of the shading over the top of that as well. Any questions? Oh, Janie, we always notice you. Finger blend. You know we love having you here. All right, let me pull out again. Let's check this out. Okay, then I'm going to come in and I'm going to shade this area. You know I always talk about between the eye and the nose, right? We're going to darken up that area as well. And notice how when I bring that down, the face, that starts to cause the cheeks to become more prominent. And I'm working this on the bridge of the nose. All right. Let me pull out. Look how beautiful now that looks. You can see the shaded area and darkened area around the eye, which causes this whole area to recess into the paper. And that's what gives you your dimensions. Okay. Now, I'm going to take a very light pink. And I'm going to put just a little bit underneath our dark line here that we put for the crinkle lines. And I'm talking about just a scooch of color. Now remember, when you're coloring, you want to see not the color, but the what? The effect. In other words, the result. And then I'm going to carry that pink. Let me get back on the area so you can see what the heck I'm doing. I'm just going to add just a touch onto the cheek area. I mean, if you want to talk about barely there, that's what we've got here. Okay, now I'm going to add just a little bit on this other cheek. We're just going to scooch just a little bit of that pink. And then I'm going to come down to the hand, and we're going to add just a little bit of pink on that as well. Isn't that cool? We want the skin to look what? Healthy. And I am barely touching the paper with this color. Janie, you got your books today and your Star Joy pencils. Excuse me, what books did you get? Okay, I've got a little bit of pink here that I don't want. There we go. All right. Now, where's the last place that I always tell you guys to add a little bit of pink? On a face. Right? Well, yes. The lips is one of them, but where else? And the answer is the neck area. Now, don't streak your pink like I just did. Janie, what books did you get? Mamie, scoot out of here. Your show's on. Mamie's going to be back in an hour. There's a jelly roll special on that she wants to catch. Okay. Now, light pink on the lips. And we're going to go ahead and catch that tongue. Now, what color do we add on the lips when we're doing non-lipstick lips? Anybody? And what Stephanie is calling nectar is, yes, a flesh tone color. Thank you, Grace. So we want to knock down that pink. Because we're not adding lipstick in this case. Now, I'm going to leave the tongue alone because I want that to be the slightly more pink. Now, what do you notice about the teeth? Guys, what do you notice about the teeth? And the answer there is that they're arriving 10 more minutes before the face does. That's right, Tammy, they're too white. So I'm going to come in with my Faber-Castell Ivory. And we're going to knock down that color a little bit. And if you still need to adjust it a little bit more, we can go ahead and add a very, very light gray. And just like the makeup that we, or not the makeup, but the cheeks that we did with the pink, we barely add that color. Oh, Janie, Symphony of Cute Animals and Romantic Country. Cool. Now, I want you to notice now the difference between the teeth on our little girl and on Jesus. There you go. Now be careful about wiping out that division between the teeth. Just pop that back in if necessary. Oh, Grace, you got Symphony of Cute Animals as well? Okay. Now, all right, you'll be prepared to color with us then, won't you? Oh, it says it's been shipped. I'm assuming that you got that from Amazon. I'm surprised it's taking a week. Janie, you got Eerie Enchantment Fairy Tale Origins by Eliza Callahan. Grace, give Amazon a call and ask them what's going on. That shouldn't take that long. Okay, let's do the beard. And I'm going to do the beard a little bit differently than I did the hair. I'm going to use a medium gray, a Payne's gray, and black. And these are my 3 pencils. Grace, when you first ordered the book, when did it tell you that it was going to be delivered? You know how they always tell you expect your book, your package by so and so? Something's not kosher. Okay. So I'm removing the brown this time from the beard. So here's my medium gray, my Payne's gray, and my black, which I like to use You ordered it, it was supposed to be, it's supposed to be in by the 16th. All right, well, today's the 11th. You still should be okay. I'm just surprised that it's taking that long. All right. Now, in this particular picture, we've got this light gray, which to me ages our image. So that's why I'm choosing my medium gray to put on here. I don't want that aging, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using my Payne's gray and my black to make it more black. So here's my lighter gray. Here's my Payne's gray in the same area. And by adding that lighter gray first, it dilutes my Payne's gray a little bit, and that's what I wanted. Janie, your book came a day early. Okay. I swear Amazon is doing that. They're telling you that your book, your delivery date's going to be such and such, and then it comes a day early. All right. Do you guys remember that day that I was checking the order on my romantic country book, and I looked at it while we were on broadcast, while I was live? It was supposed to come in that next day, and it was there, so I did a BRB and went and got it out of the mailbox. Okay. Payne's Gray. And then our black. And I want you to notice that I'm working the black on the side part of the mustache, on the sides here and the bottom. So that center portion here is a little bit lighter. And then our center portion is going to be darker. And back to the light and the dark on our left side. The bottom and the top. Okay. Bottom part of our beard. My medium gray on the lighter portions here. And the reason that I'm taking out this gray is because I don't want to age the face. Sandy, good night. I'm glad you stopped in. Okay. finger blend. Then I'm going to come up with our medium gray. So I've got to go back up to where this beard starts. And when I get to my area that I just did with our light gray, I'm going to color near the edges with the Payne's gray. Top and bottom, and that's going to leave that center portion as the lighter portion, and that's going to give our beard dimension. I'm sorry, Janie, you don't mind what? Cindy, good night. Have a great rest of the evening. Okay, let me pull out. Now, I haven't gotten the black in yet. Any questions, comments? And again, by comments, I'm talking about your feelings about being able to do this picture. Okay, now I'm going to come in with my black. And notice how I'm running the black again towards the outside. Janie, what don't you mind? Now, notice our three shades here. Now, notice how I'm running the black basically in a thin edge around the bottom. Miss Stephanie, good night. Got a little bit of my beard too far here. Stephanie, I'm glad you're that comfortable and relaxed. All right, I've got a little scooch of black here that I didn't mean to travel that far. All right, let me pull out. And I'm going to finger blend this beard. So guys, tell me what you think. Does that look realistic to you? Okay. Now, as a comparison, I'm going to start up on the skin tones of our little girl. Is anybody having any problem following along while I'm doing this? Well, hello, Angie. Oh, let me find my lightest skin tone here. All right. Let me swatch the colors for you. Here's our light color. Here's our medium. Here's our dark. So pull your skin tone colors. I absolutely love the expression. Now I'm going to pull my light colors first. Isn't that beautiful? Now, what I want you to notice is that this light skin tone that I'm using is going to further make the skin tones on Jesus look more Arabic. Then I'm going to come in with our medium. Whoops, I missed my light underneath here. So guys, my question to you is, doing these two faces like this, is this helping you with coloring faces? Oop, back to our light above our eye. and then to our medium. Isn't that beautiful? Now, take your time. This is not a race. And concentrate on your blending. To make sure that you blend away those edges. All right. Hallelujah. Amen. Amen. Now let's go below the lips here. Okay, and then we're going to come in with our dark. before I do that, I'm going to go back with my medium. We need to pop down to this neck. And notice how our center portion of our neck is our lightest color. Why? Because that's the most exposed part of the neck, because we have our shading underneath the chin. Okay, so there's our medium. And I'm going to pull out a second just to show you now the contrast between the two faces. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, back to our face. I'm pulling in my dark pencil. We'll go ahead and shade in that lip already. Now, I want you to notice that I'm taking my dark color. We've got this dark line here indicating the smile lines, but we need to shade now a little bit on the outside of that with our darkest pencil. In order to make that line look natural. And I'm going to add just a little more of my darker color underneath the eyes, even though I put that with medium. And I'm also going to use our darkest color. Here we go, from the corner of the eye around the outside of the nose. And what that does is that accentuates the eyes and the nose and the cheek. Everybody see that? Now, the grayscale does not call for that coloring to be put in, but I always have you add it. Finger blend. Now, we have a blank area over here. Same thing. We're going to add a little bit of our shading next to that nose. Towards the underside of the eye. Make sure that you understand that. And what a difference in making that face come to life. Isn't that beautiful? Let me come in a little closer yet. All right, let me pull out. Creak. Alright, I've got a little bit of a blip here. Hold on. Let me clean the tip of my eraser off. If you ever have to clean off the tip of your eraser, just turn your paper over and clean it on the spot. All right. Oh, Mamie, that was quick. I'm about to change projects. Okay. Here are our Tam Tam. Good night. Here are our two faces together. And you'll notice that we have a very light angelic face here. Because why? It's looking towards the light of God. Okay. Next project. Dark Fairy Tales. Last night we were making progress with our trees. We got some mushrooms colored in. And we still have a few more additions that we need to do here. But I started working on the second branch here. And I started in with my lightest color. So we have our light, medium, and dark brown, and then we have our Payne's gray. So I'm going to pop in with my medium brown. Maggie, hello. Happy Friday, happy Friday, happy Friday. Happy Friday from Maggie and Allie. Hi, Allie. Alley-oop. All right. Medium brown. Maggie, did you see how far I had gotten on the coloring of Jesus? Actually, I'm going to assume that you didn't. Here's where we are. I think we're getting a really good dew on it. Yeah, the faces are amazing. They sure are. And guys, you can do this. All right. So Maggie, ask Allie to tell us something fun. Here's our medium color. Maggie, ask Allie what she thinks of the picture of Jesus. She says she's excited to start her birthday celebration tomorrow. Oh. She and Mommy are getting their nails and toes done, then meeting the boys and their best friends for a fun night at Gotti Pizza. Her birthday is Monday. How cool is that? 10 years old. Okay, now, we've got a tree bark peeking below this one that I'm just coloring in. So we're going to color that in with our darkest brown. And then I'll come in with my medium. And that's going to be right next to this flower. My Linda, so glad to see you. And then I'm going to shade in with my Payne's Gray underneath that edge, just to distinguish that tree that's underneath there. My Linda, tell us something fun. All right. Now, dark brown in our area underneath here. My Linda says, it's Friday, it's been a long week, and now I rest. And we have new episodes of Matlock, Ghosts, and Lisbeth. Those are my 3 go-to shows. Okay, then we have our medium. All right, let's roll over to the left. And then we'll pop up with our medium on the other side of that branch. And then we'll pop in with my light. And let's bring our light down here. And let's move up the tree. Angry Bear, are you coloring this with me? And I managed to wipe out a couple of leaves. I've got to recoup those. Oh my. Okay. And then further up the tree, now we've got some dark area here. So I'm going to go with my dark brown. Don't forget to turn your pencil when you lift it to move around. How many of you have gotten into the habit of turning your pencil? Maggie, you have. In other words, you turn it without even thinking about it, right? Perfect. And while I've got my dark pencil, I'm going to pop up to this little teeny tiny branch up here. And my small darker branches up here. Okay, let me move my camera here. Sorry for the jostling around. Okay. Moving down a little bit, our medium color. Let me pull out so you can see where I am. And then on this lighter area that I colored earlier, back with my medium inside of our little divots. And all of a sudden we've got gnarly branches. Grace, good night. I'm on for another about half hour. Thanks for stopping by. And then I'm going to come in with my dark. And shade in along this edge where these branches overlap. Check it out. and then back to our medium to get our little gnarly areas in. Now, even with that gnarly area, I'm just going to underline here or shade with my darker color. And that really makes these parts of this tree stand out. Okay. Now let's work up this tree. We have our little dark divots here. And, well, I've got my dark pencil in my hand. We'll have a dark area going up this branch as well as a little knot right here. So, Janie and Angry Bear, I really would appreciate if you would post your progress in the group. And then I'm going to come up above our tree. Angry Bear, what do you mean your picture needs approval? Are you trying to post it right now? Oh, it says your post is pending. Okay. Uh, Angry Bear, make sure that you're in the right group because I don't have pendings on submissions. I'll check it after the broadcast. Okay. Now, check the dark areas by where the branch crosses. And check our dark area as well as we get up towards the top where we have another branch crossing. All right. And let's get a little bit of our dark branch up here. But I'm going to add a little bit of medium just to give it that contrast. Okay. Let me pop out so you can see this progress. And notice how I'm using my darkest color now to shade in those little nooks and crannies. And for those of you that have been with me for a while, you know that I always tell you to darken in the crotch of the tree branches. You want that dramatic look. Okay, back to my medium. And notice how I'm bringing my medium color down over my light color, and that's creating another brown altogether. Isn't that cool? Hello, Kathy. So check out that completely new color that I'm putting on this tree branch or tree trunk, because I'm taking my medium color and putting it over my light. Oh, Kathy, you fell asleep on the sofa. Oh, no worries. You needed your sleep. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Hold on. Oh, excuse me. Kathy, it's your perfume. Oh, thank you. Okay. Now I'm going to use a water-based marker. And I'm going to get these leaves colored in because I keep insisting on coloring them over with my brown. And because they're very young, tender leaves, they're going to be a lighter green than the other greens I've been putting on the page. All right, problem taken care of. And then coming out of that light green is my lighter brown. Now, normally I would have you darken the crotch of this branch, but because we're on top of a dark area here, see that? I want to keep that light. So I don't want you guys to get stuck on some hard and fast rule and not think about what you're doing. Oh, Mamie, thank you so much for putting that link into the group. Okay, here's my medium brown. And then my darkest brown. Looking good. And I just noticed a little bit of a purple flower. That I missed in between this little branch. Details, guys, details. Okay. Let's continue down this branch. And then I'm going to come in with my darkest color. Now, notice that because I put my light color on first, my darkest color is going to be a little bit different than my darkest color on the other branches. That's why we do that. Okay, medium on this edge right here. And again, our medium is going to come out a little bit different because we have our light color as our base color. And then I'm going to go back with my dark to the left here. Next to our previous color branch. Now, I don't know about you, but I think that this is looking pretty sweet. Now, I've got a little bit of a limb here that lost its color for some reason. I don't know if I got glue on it or paint. So I'm just going to shade that in a little bit. Okay, let me pull out. Now I'm going to come in with my Payne's Gray. I'm still working on this limb right here. I'm going to come in with my Payne's Gray because I want a darker shading yet on parts of this limb. And remember, I'm doing this over my browns that are already there. And let's get down to the very bottom here. And shade that in as well. It's going to be a little harder because we're right by the spine of the book. Okay. let me pull out and this is how we look. Isn't that beautiful? Any questions? You can do this. Don't be intimidated by a picture like this. All right, so we worked on our Dark Fairy Tales by Curvy Roseanne's. Little Red Riding Hood. She just slaughtered the wolf. Oh, Kathy, thank you. Those colors remind me of storybook colors. And don't forget that I took some rhinestones and put them on the hilts of the knife. And then, starting out, we worked on our picture of Jesus loving on our little girl. We made him darker skinned on purpose. Jesus is not white. Okay, guys. This is ILene Vick for Teaching Adult Coloring with ILene Vick. Guys, joyous, joyous coloring. Love on each other. That's what our group is known for. I'll see you tomorrow night, same time, same place. Guys, please hit that like arrow. That really helps support the group. Please share this broadcast so somebody else can enjoy coming in. And guys, have a great rest of the evening. Guys, thanks for attending. Guys, take care. Love you. And we'll see what kind of trouble we can get into tomorrow night. Take care, everybody. Bye.